And therefore, this dialogue today is meant for us to discuss the role and functioning of the KIX Africa 19 Hub towards strengthening education systems. How do we strengthen what we already have? How do we accelerate education progress? I know Kenya, we are making quite some progress, but how do we then accelerate that progress? Another objective that we have today is that we need to map the existing knowledge, the promising practices that we'll be sharing in all the sessions, and the priorities at a national level that will therefore inform the knowledge, innovation, and exchange at a country level, and also at the region level. Today, we'll also provide an opportunity for our local education group, that is the LEG members, who will be able to present their national interests to ensure knowledge and lessons that have been learned support the country-level policy dialogues and implementation. And finally, the last objective is that we'll have group discussions, we'll have a lot of exchanges, and with that, we'll be able to come up with a call to action, which will be able to document all the outcomes that will come out from this meeting, and we'll be able to define the priorities related to policy challenges through research, and also find out what innovations are there from Kenya, from other countries that can be scaled to a greater level.
I would say that the knowledge, and ideas that are generated from this kind of hub is what should always be informing us in terms of planning. We intend, for example, to start as a country our next, cycle of the sector plan development, because our sector plan at the moment, if you look at it, is 2018 to 2022. It's coming to an end, and therefore we'll be looking to the knowledge that this hub specifically generates in informing the development of our plans moving forward.
The key thing that we need to be discussing now and moving forward is how we are going to use this hub in a way that we benefit more from the platforms that have been provided.
And our vision is to have an integrated data governance system that does not just serve WUSC or a single organization, but that will work across different institutions. But how can that really work? We have some suggestions. The first point is that we really need to understand the data production process. We really need to understand some of these principles of data protection. Do we collect usable data? And how do we control the quality of data, and how can it be accessed?
What I can say authoritatively is that where we do not have good network for these digitized data systems, we are planning after the rollout of TPD to have what we can say is someone can capture data and then upload when you get to a place where there is network. So those arrangements are ready. And from the hub, I want to believe these ones we have learned in our previous sessions, how others have done it in Zambia, I think. And so we are also including that in our systems. Thank you.
The Bureau raised something on funding. I think we need to do some study on the cost of financing early child education so that it is common across the country, because now, as we have said, ECD is devolved. We need a national level advice so that it is reflected in every county so that we have equity in that area.
Kindly, I think it's the high time we also started looking at the infrastructure. What is the wash? Water sanitation for the learners. Some of the assessments that were carried out in some of the sectors, we have realized that especially in the arid and semi-arid lands, some of the learners in ECD do not have proper sanitation, like toilets. They are sharing toilets with the big boys, big girls. No gender-sensitive toilets for these babies. So that is the infrastructure I'm talking about. as we embark on making this child comfortable in schools, achieving the learning outcomes that we expect, progressing, transiting from one level to the other, let us ensure the environment they are in is conducive for their learning.
We also need to focus on the teachers undergoing the training in our colleges. And I would like to say that from the 4th of October, next month, all our public institutions, teacher training colleges, have students, have trainees. So for us to succeed in this innovation, we need to start it with our trainees, so that when they leave our colleges, they get out with those innovations and transmit or translate them as they practice as teachers.
But now from the community of practice, I found they were looking at the planning as one stage, and you need to look at all the things that affect planning, all the things that affect designing and the development. So that's what I took, that we need to really, before we can even start designing the curriculum, look at these 3 components critically. Found Tanzania was doing quite well. I mean, they started their competence-based reforms in 2005, but they are our neighbors here. I looked at all the challenges, all the things that they went through, and there are some of the things that we are going through, but how much did we network with Tanzania? So I felt, and I think this is where we are going with this forum, is that we need to network.
That I am happy to hear what different organizations from government and non-government organizations are doing. A lot of innovations are being done in terms of managing data, especially from the non-governmental organizations, which government could also borrow. Government is also doing quite a lot from the presentations that we have had today, and can actually be validated so that it can be scaled to a higher level. The vision and expectation of the KIX Hub is that it will continue to create the opportunities where people can interact, where people can collaborate, where people can be able to have a common kind of understanding of challenges that are facing them, and coming up with solutions on how to solve certain problems, see what other organizations are doing so that we avoid duplication and also learn from each other.